Hi, Kevin Coop here, and this is FaceTime with the content guy. So, we've had over the last week or two, we've had a couple of stories, a bunch of stories about the coronavirus, right? And I don't think I've overplayed it. I've tried to keep it appropriate. I've tried to keep it business oriented. I certainly don't think we've been obsessed by it, but I thought it was certainly worth paying attention to, in part because so many industry conferences are being affected by it, and in part because, listen, it's going to affect the supply chain. It's affecting the economy. These are things that concern people who read Morning Newsbeat. I thought it made sense to pay attention to it. I keep getting emails. I'm sitting here, it's late at night. I keep getting emails from people saying, come on, this is much ado about nothing. This is a media creation. This is the media elite, which has a political agenda. This is no worse than the flu. The flu, by the way, the flu has a mortality rate out on average of 0.1%. The coronavirus, this particular one, it's estimated, depending on the day, between 2, 3, 3.5%, something like that. Why are we spending so much time paying attention to this? All right, let me explain something. Forgive me, I can't help myself. This is not about politics. This is about science. This is about respected scientists who are seeing something that started one place, seems to be spreading, that we don't particularly understand, that could end up being a major problem for a lot of people. And, especially the elderly and people who are compromised medically. Now, there's an enormous difference. Yes, okay, fewer people are probably maybe affected at this point than the flu, but there's an enormous difference between 0.1% and 2 or 3%. It's huge. It's a huge difference. If it kills that many people, eventually, that's going to be earth-shaking in its own way. Hopefully that won't happen, but it certainly seems to me worth paying attention to, worth talking about, and worth putting the resources on against on a global scale, right? Listen, I've talked to a number of retailers, been to a bunch of retailers, and it's interesting. A lot of them are doing really smart things in terms of dealing with the coronavirus. One of the things that I've noticed is that companies that normally do a lot of sampling, they've eliminated the sampling programs, especially passive sampling programs. They don't need people reaching in with their hands and stuff like that. Really smart. I actually think they should go one step farther. I actually think that instead of just stopping the programs, you got to post signs. They're going to put a sign up there that says something like, you may notice that we're not doing the kind of sampling we normally do. It's not because we don't want you to taste our food. We do. But in view of all the concerns related to this coronavirus outbreak, we just think it makes sense to pull them back, and we'll bring them back to the aisles of our stores as soon as we appropriately can. In the meantime, know that we're doing everything we can to make sure the food supply is safe, to make sure our people are safe, to make sure you're safe, and that we have all the products you want and need as much as we can possibly make sure that happens for you. If you have any questions, let us know. We're here for you. Your concerns are our concerns. Yeah, I think this is, may seem a little opportunistic, but I think this is the kind of thing you have to take advantage of, in the sense of telling your consumers what's going on, how you're responding to it, and be completely transparent that you're doing your absolute best. Maybe they even want to be providing disposable gloves instead of just the wipes that people use to wipe off their shopping carts. Listen, I hope the coronavirus ends up not being as bad as everybody thinks it might be at this point. I hope that people's health does not suffer the way it might. I hope that the global economy doesn't take it on the chin the way some people think it's going to. But let me suggest one thing. If things are not as bad as sometimes people are predicting right now, if 3, 4, 5 months from now we're saying, that ended up being much ado about, not all that much. It may be because the media paid so much attention to it. It may be because the media talked about the threat. It may be because the media said, hey, listen, you got to wash your hands a lot. You got to cough into your elbow. You got to wipe things down. You got to be conscious about who you touch and where you touch. It's because the media is providing people information that we may actually dodge a bullet on this one. The media is the friend of the public in terms of dealing with this stuff, not the enemy. Now, I recognize there will be people in the Morning Newsbeat community who will disagree with me on this. And yes, I have a dog in this hunt. I'm a member of the media. Yeah, a really tiny little niche part of the media, but I am. And that's how I think of myself. But I got to tell you, I think by and large the mainstream media is doing a really good job of informing people, of reporting out the facts as they can get them, reporting out the information that the experts, the scientists are giving them, and trying to tell consumers what they need to know so they can behave in a way that is appropriate. That's what I think. I know you may disagree with me. I'm sorry. I just can't help myself. Anyway, that's what's on my mind right now. And as always, I want to hear what's on your mind.